What time is it in Dubai?
6:59. 1 minute. 1 minute before the start. Yeah.
Bang on, right?
Monty, I always ask my guests the last minute before the race, when you're at the start line, you're getting ready. Are you one of the cool guys? Are you ready? Are you nervous? How you feel when it is time to race?
Just before the start of the race, yeah, I'd be nervous, much like I am now.
Yeah, you don't have to be nervous.
Yeah. I think if you're not nervous, then you're not taking it seriously, right?
Yes.
I guess if you're not nervous, you're not taking it seriously. No, but then it's good to be. I think it's a kind of cool thing to be nervous, to be out of your comfort zone almost. This is not normal for me to speak live on camera, despite what you might think. And obviously we know each other, and you've seen me and quite outgoing and loud, and yeah, it's super nervous. So yeah,
very good.
One of the nervous guys, definitely. You don't want to be next to me in the first 5 kilometers of the race, because that would be a little bit wonky. Exactly. Yeah.
Listen, I think it's 7 o'clock. Time to start, and I'm really excited. Andrew Montgomery, Monty, the one and only Monty the heron. Actually, I looked up today. Heron, and it's a bird, and you see what it says? It says it's a tall, long-legged, long-billed wading bird. I thought that's quite a statement, isn't it? Yeah.
Much like myself, but where I got that name from was when I was in London, when I sort of found this group of friends, Leon and Rob and stuff. And I remember Rob was riding behind me, and he said, who do you remind me of on a bike? You remind me of Fausto Coppi. And Fausto Coppi's nickname was the Heron, because he had these long legs, he had this big nose, he was super tall, he had the hair brushed back. And I said, wow, I'm taking that. So yeah, Monty the Heron, much like Fausto Coppi.
This is obviously your Instagram. If somebody wants to follow you on Instagram and see what's the right style on the bike, that's your name. That's your name on Instagram. And when I forget, I have to obviously send the biggest regards and love from all Wolfi's angels in the shop. And they say regards to Kuya Monty. And for those who don't know you, you have worked for us a couple of years in Dubai, and I think you have changed the fashion scene and the style of many cyclists in Dubai. And I think they're still talking about the way you did things here in Dubai, which is really cool. So I'm really excited to have you on the talk, and thank you. And now you're working for MAAP. You started as a brand ambassador for MAAP, and you're going to tell us all about it. But I'm super excited, and you're going to show us all about style on the bike. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Wolfi's Talks, Monty.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. As I said, it's not normal that we talk in public. So I'm excited. As I said, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it's going to be good fun. So I'm looking forward to what questions you and the angels have come up for me. So.
But you did a talk, and I think during the lockdown, during COVID, when this all started, you did a really cool show with a lot of followers, which is Monty's Aperitivo, which I thought actually was really, and it was maybe as well one of the inspirations we had for our talk. And it was really cool because you could sit there, have a glass of wine, and sit with some really cool people and talk cycling. And you did it on Instagram, and I think it was quite amazing that you had over 3,000 people listening to what you have to say. And I think it's quite interesting how many people we can reach today with cycling, and with everybody's into cycling today.
I mean, the idea basically was because I was bored, like really bored, and I said, I'm just gonna, each night I take a different drink, and I'm just gonna go live and just talk, because I'm very used to being outdoors, in bars, in restaurants, meeting people, and in the lockdown this wasn't possible anymore. So I said, I'm gonna bring it to the people on social media. And to see the impact that it had was crazy. To sit there for an hour and drink wine and whiskey and beer and stuff, and it was fun, and it was like really interactive, and people would message and comment, and I'm super happy that it reached so many people. But it was overwhelming, to see that number of people listening to what you had to say. And I mean, I'm grateful that people tuned in and gave up their time. I'm sure it was because they had nothing else to do rather than the fact that they wanted to listen to what I had to say. But yeah, no, it was super fun. And then I gave it up because I was preparing notes and, like going really into it, really in depth. And then your one came along, and yours was a far more polished product than Wolfi's talks with some cool guests. So I said, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to continue to watch these ones. So thank you for taking over from me as the chat show host.
But people are asking, I have some, Amy Davidson says, bring back the aperitivo. I think that's a clear message.
Okay.
People want to get you back on the show, back on Instagram. So maybe you should pick up some cool guests again and start it again.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you need to hold it back from the public, and then you need to just keep them all waiting for a bit, and then give them that Christmas special or that special edition. Maybe I do it for my birthday on St. Patrick's Day. Maybe I do something like this.
Good. Let us know. Listen, tell us a bit more about your story, how you got infected with the cycling bug, and how did you start? What was the inspiration to get into? I know you worked for Rafa, you worked for Liam Gallagher, and obviously that's a few years back. You worked for other famous companies, but tell us a bit about your history in cycling and history in retail.
When I was, I used to work in a pub in Scotland, and I would always have the football on, right? I was a big football fan, a huge football supporter. So I would always put the football on. And there used to be this guy who would come in and sit at the bar, and he would say, can you put on the Tour de France? And I said, what? No, we're not putting on the Tour de France. So we're watching the football. And he said, no, I want to watch the race. I want to watch the race. So reluctantly, I used to put it on every day. And this guy used to sit at the end of the bar and tell me what was happening. This rider's going back to the car to take the bottles. They're in the breakaway, but they've got no chance of winning because they'll get caught with 6 kilometers to go. And then so I used to watch this sport, and that's how I fell in love with cycling, because I think if you don't know it, if you watch it and you don't understand it, it's a very difficult sport to understand, Like at the moment, I'm watching the America's Cup, the sailing, and it's a sport that I know and I understand. But if you were to watch that, you'd have absolutely no idea what's going on, right? So I started off my cycling journey. Started off as a fan. I used to watch all the races. Lance had just come back. He was racing with Contador, and then the Schlecks. Ivan Basso, Juan Antonio Fletcher, all these guys, I remember watching Juan Antonio Fletcher and Johnny Hugerland getting hit by the car in the Tour de France and getting knocked into the barbed wire, that's how I started off in cycling. And then I went to work for Liam, which was crazy, like the most rock and roll things. The closest thing you could really do to being a rock star was to work for Liam Gallagher, right? I was working in he had a shop in Glasgow, which was, it was just insane times, it was like, just party central 24/7. And this was around the same time that Bradley Wiggins, started riding for Sky. So I think 2010, he finished 4th. And then I think Lance got banned, so then moved up to 3rd. The next year, I think he broke his collarbone, so he didn't finish the race. And then 2012, obviously he won the Tour, right? Bradley won the Tour, first British guy to win the Tour. And I was there in Paris. And it was like a music festival on the Champs-Elysees, this British mod with the sideburns, the British guys are all drinking the beers in the street, chanting his name. And it was like a football kind of environment at a bike race, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is where I want to go. I want to start working in the cycling industry, And then I went down to London, started working with Rafa, and then that's when I properly seriously got into actually riding a bike, like seriously, in up in the hills, Box Hill, Surrey, the North London Loop with Leon and all these, Johnny and all these guys. And we arranged this trip between us And this was about the time sort of social media and ambassadors, and as much as I hate the word, influencers kind of started really coming out, and we took a group of guys, myself, Leon, Rudy, Johnny, Russ, and we went to Belgium on like a four-day trip to Belgium that ended with the Sportif, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. So we'd been training in the lead up to it. We all went to Belgium. We were all, we did the rides, but all the way through the rides, we were taking pictures. And then, as soon as we got back home at the end of the ride, there was 2 hours silence because we were all too busy, uploading our pictures to social media and stuff like this, So yeah, that was kind of, that's my journey with cycling up until, I guess, well, until I came to you.
So we met in London. I think we were in UE tour. Then we met in London, and then you came over to Dubai to work for us.
Yeah. So what was really cool was that I'm terrible with dates. I had to actually scroll back through my Instagram to find the timeline to sort of see where. I had absolutely no idea when I was in Dubai. I thought it was 8 years ago. Turns out it was only 6. So it was February 2015. I came to the Dubai tour. Then was the Dubai tour, and I was with Brian Holm, and I actually remember a story of one of your first guests, I think. So Brian, we went down to like the team start zone, and there was all the tents, and all the teams were inside their tents getting ready for the stage. And Brian Holm said, "You can come into the tent, just sit down with the guys." And I remember sitting there, and I had these huge glasses on. Do you remember them? My huge glasses, and I had this crazy hair, and like I was wearing jeans and a leather jacket. It's like 40 degrees, right? And I sat in the tent with the Quick Step team, and there's Sabatini and Iluk Geiser, Mark Cavendish, and I remember looking at Tony Martin, right? And Tony Martin staring at me, looking at me, going, "Who is this guy? Like, who is this?" And he said, I think he said to Brian Holm, like, "What is this?" And Brian said, "Oh, it's my friend Monty. He's from London. He's like a little dandy boy. He likes to dress all fancy and stuff, And I know Tony Martin, like, going, "This guy's crazy, And that was in February 2015. The Dubai, incredible. I was with the riders 2 days before the first stage in the Hatta Mountains with the team, and Hatta Dam and stuff. And then, we went home, and I remember going home after the Dubai tour with Chloe at the time, and she started like on her laptop, like researching Dubai and stuff. And I said, "There's something not right here. What's going on?" And she said, "I want to move to Dubai." And I said, "Oh no, you're joking. No way." And then, Mark, actually, I'm sure he's watching. Hello, Mark. He connected us both. And then, you flew to London with Gabby, and we met in Kensington. And it was September 2015. I flew to Dubai to start working with you. Yeah. So yeah, 5.5 years.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. No, it was funny. And I remember the first day I landed, and I said, "Oh, I'm here." And you said, "Yeah, I come to the shop." And I came to the shop. I was there for like 6 hours. I basically just off the plane, start work, right? Like, straight into it. There's no point messing around, right? And then I think like 3 days later or 4 days later, we went to Abu Dhabi, and we were riding next to each other on the Formula One circuit. And my mind is completely blown, right? I'm like, I've seen this circuit on the TV. I never thought I would ever ride a bike on this circuit. And we went to the press conference for the Abu Dhabi tour. So basically my first time in the UAE was for the Dubai tour. And then ultimately I arrived to live there for the Abu Dhabi tour. And we met Tom Bonan and Phil Gilbert. And I have all these pictures still. I still look at them, and yeah, super cool. Yeah.
Very good. I just want to point something out. I think you have a cool collaboration coming up with 100%. And we're just speaking about sunglasses. And I just want to kind of quickly make everyone aware, just pay good attention while we are talking. And if you want to look as cool as Monty, we will have 2 of these sunglasses. We will give them away to people watching the talk, and we will ask some questions on social media, and then you have the opportunity to win one of these cool sunglasses, cooperation MAAP and 100%. So thanks, Monty, and thanks to MAAP to make it possible. So what is your memory to Dubai? What is the best memory you had when you're looking back?
My best memory in Dubai. You mean on the bike or in Barasti?
Both. Give us both. Come on. Yeah.
I think the first time I went to Jebel Jais on the bike, to go somewhere like that where you just don't expect to see anything like that, that was pretty cool. To get to the top of Jebel Jais, apparently it's higher now than it was before. I don't know, but for me, the whole experience was, I grew up a lot in Dubai, as a person. So, I mean, those living in Business Bay and then having to wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning because Marcus Smith was coming past in his car on the motorway at 4:30, and if I wasn't there, then he wasn't going to talk to me for a long time. So I had to make sure that I was at in the hard shoulder of the motorway with my bike, and then we would go and ride Al Qudra at 5 o'clock in the morning or something. We used to do that crazy ride. I think also for Dubai, obviously, the biggest thing you learn in Dubai for me is you learn a lot about other people's cultures, right? Like coming from the UK, we only know the UK, right? So to go there and people like in your shop, you have people from all over the world working in that shop, and you learn a lot, and you start to respect other people's cultures and the way that they work, and like the likes of Nikon, like I love that girl so much, like a little sister, and Mujir, like such an awesome person, and Clinton, and how hard that guy works, and people like Vedran and Charlie, like they're so skilled, and I guess also you personally taught me a lot, like I don't think there's a day in Dubai or in that shop where you don't learn something, like it's a constant education. Yes, you have to work hard, but hard work pays off. Hard work is it's important in life. But yeah, the education that you get working in Dubai with you is for me was it's why I'm here now. I would not be here now if it wasn't for the time that I spent with you and the staff in the shop. I used to sit there and everyone, where's Monty? I'm over in the clothing section, just like making sure that all the clothes are like with the finger between the rails, and and you're like, there's customers, Monty, you need to serve the customers. I'm like, yeah, but look at the clothes, they're not straight, So, Dubai for me was such an education. So.
How did it start with MAAP? You were a brand ambassador for them. This started after your time in Belgium, or how did you approach them, or did they approach you? And how did you know about the brand MAAP? Because you're from Australia.
So I'd heard of them, but it was really hard to get it in the UK. At this time, I was working with Paul Smith, the fashion designer in London, and I think Ollie messaged me on Instagram and said, hey, would you like to start wearing some kit? Like, we can send you some bits and pieces and stuff. And then, kind of became like a brand ambassador almost, So I used to wear all their kit exclusively, spoke to them occasionally through Instagram. But at that time, there was, I think, three staff at MAAP, super, super small operation. Everything was being shipped out of Australia. So every time I ordered some kit, I had to pay the import duties and the taxes and stuff like that. But I think it definitely helped the exposure in the sort of the initial years, like that the brand could be found outside of Australia, essentially. I think at that time it was pretty much just the European brands that were being represented, certainly in London. And so, to have this Australian brand being represented in Europe was quite important at that time, especially for me. I always like to wear stuff that no one else can find. So At that time, I was riding around Regent's Park or going down to Giro cycles in Asia to see Jordan, and it was hard to find, and I liked that. I was the only one wearing that brand, so kind of liked it. And then, we kept in touch, and I kind of helped them get into some shops at that point, just through me being in Europe and being able to speak to people on a European timeline, and friends of mine in the industry that I'd met at sportifs, Paris-Roubaix or Liège-Bastogne-Liège, just saying, you can stock MAAP. Yeah, here's the guy's details and stuff like that. So, it was maybe one of the first ambassadors. I don't know. I think there must have been a few in Australia, obviously, but outside of Australia, certainly I would say one of the first. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How old is the brand MAAP, and how long is it existing, and who's behind?
So there's two owners, Ollie and Jared. The brand's 7 years old, so we're 7 this year, I believe. And the journey's been incredible. So Ollie and Jared both worked in the fashion industry. They both knew each other sort of in the fashion industry, and they've seen a gap in the market. They seen that something wasn't there that could be achieved, and so they slowly put it together. I think what's super cool is the journey that they did 7 years ago. I've kind of replicated here in Europe in the last sort of 3 years, because Ollie was sort of designing the kit and the logos and this sort of stuff, and Jared was selling it. So Jared was literally walking around with a suit bag, like a Gucci suit bag, and inside the Gucci suit bag was all the MAAP jerseys, and he only had the samples at the time, and he's calling up Ollie saying, "Hey Ollie, like, we need more. Like I've sold more," and all this sort of stuff. And Ollie's like, we need to design more. And they're flying over to Italy to meet the factories and get the fit correct and the sizing and all this sort of stuff. So I love that story. Two guys who've seen a gap in the market and just went for it. And I think now we're like 31 or 32 employees in the company. It's crazy to see the journey, of like,
nice.
It's good. It's important, it's fun to watch.
We have a short clip which you sent me, which explains a bit the name behind the brand, and I think there's as well a vision and mission statement for the brand, which I thought was quite nice. So Will, if you don't mind, if you just bring this up to the screen, please.
Yeah, right. It's cool.
Yes, very nice. And then you have a little label as well in the clothing, which kind of represents obviously what the brand stands for. And I read through this before we had the talk, and I thought it's actually quite inspiring. And maybe we have a quick glimpse at this as well.
Yeah.
Here we go. So always lead off the front, leave a better than the one we
I mean, always lead off the front. That's kind of, a cycling term. You want to be at the front of the peloton, right? You don't want to be off the back. So we see ourselves and we want to be the sort of the people leading sort of cycling going forward, and, through apparel and through everything essentially, So always leading off the front. And that's also a mindset, right? It's not just through the technical products and the garments. It's a mindset, leave a better planet than the one we inherit. I think that's at the forefront of everyone's minds at the moment. I remember being in Australia last year when they had the bushfires, and that was, for me, to see that firsthand, to witness like the smog and just how damaged the planet is was crazy. It's one thing to read it on the news and see it in a newspaper, but to actually live that and see it was so powerful. I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly, because it's been interesting to see other people's views on it. We exist to propel cycling forward through better design and performance. I think if you look at the the staff in the office, from the design department to Ollie himself, to just how much they put into like the fit and the structure and the fabrics and the materials, and it's inspiring to be around. Just how obsessed we are with this, design and performance. MAAP belongs to us all. That's just, we're super inclusive. It's like there's nobody that cannot ride a MAAP product. And that goes back to the clip we just showed before with the the name. The name really, MAAP stands for whatever you want it to stand for, right? There's some products coming out in the next collection which are really, really funny. I think the most special that we've done in terms of the wording down the side. MAAP is for everybody. There's nobody that cannot ride a pair of MAAP shorts or a MAAP jersey or MAAP socks or whatever. It's not this exclusive club where you need to be like this type of rider or this type of person, or anybody can wear MAAP. So authentic equals valid. We follow an alt cycling ethos. I think that's, maybe when you were growing up, Wolfi, certainly when I was getting into the sport, even, road cyclists were road cyclists, mountain bikers were mountain bikers. And then you had like, maybe more like the kind of hipster guys who did the gravel kind of thing. And I think, even if you look at your staff, I see it on social media, you've got maybe people who ride to work on a road bike, and then on the weekend they're in Hatta on their mountain bike, or instead of taking the cycle path to work, they take the gravel, and they're on like this sort of crossover bike. And I think that's the new generation. I think that's these people that can they don't have one bike, they've got 3 bikes, and each morning they wake up with this mindset where they're like, I just want to take a bike that's going to get me somewhere and blow my mind and take me to new frontiers and do something cool and exciting. And whether it's the Dubai Roadsters and, winning the sprint on Maidan, which I used to do pretty much every weekend, or, going to Hatta for 2 hours or 3 hours and just exploring and falling off and crashing and, just having fun while you're on the bike, and then, cycling makes everything better. We never stop pedaling. I think, you called me just before Christmas and said, when was the last time you were on the bike? And I said, I don't think I've been on the bike for like 2 weeks. And you said, I want you to send me a picture this afternoon of you on the bike. And you know what? I came home and I felt better. I honestly felt better. My mind was just clear. I was like energized. I was like, yeah, wow, we're on it. And, cycling makes everything better. It's the truth. So that's the sort of brand, the ethos, the manifesto. And that's what we all live by. And all the staff in the office and, all the products, it's with this in mind. So, yeah, I hope that explains your question as to what MAAP stands for.
Oh, very good. I can say as well for us as Wolfies, it's very important that we're part of the cycling industry. And I think we can be all very happy because we're helping so many people get fit, clear their mind and everything. So it's really a big part of our motivation to go to work every day is being part of this. Yeah. So this is cool.
Yeah. I don't think honestly there's a day where I don't wake up and I don't enjoy my job, because I know that, the mental side of it, people are riding their bike, and that's obviously awesome. But also, I want people also to look cool on the bike and feel good on the bike, and that's obviously important for us.
So looking cool on the bikes, I see you have so many things prepared in the back. I want to see what's the 3 things every cyclist needs to have in his wardrobe.
3 things they need to have. I would say, I might even get into trouble for showing this on TV actually, because these are our new shorts. I would say a cool pair of bib shorts, like a comfortable, what's the word I'm looking for? Like functional pair of bib shorts, that you can ride for hours and hours without having any pain. There's nothing worse, right, than you, an hour in and you're discomfortable. It's like, this is a nightmare. So yeah, I would say a nice cool pair of bib shorts with a nice functional chamois in them, supportive, can wear them for hours and hours and hours and not even feel like they exist, right? What else is cool on the bike? I'm really into shoes. For me, shoes, like I think a really cool pair of shoes, like, you know, I mean, I've got leopard print shoes. I've got
I have
all
to send
sorts.
regards from Christian from Lake, and he said, okay, talk Monty about shoes and hairstyle. So
I don't think I have my shoes up to hand, otherwise I would show them. I've got a pair of crazy leopard print shoes, but yeah, just a really cool pair of sort of shoes for me is important. Maybe not for everybody else, but yeah, just something that's funky and makes it pop, you know. And then, yeah, for me personally, 3 things you should wear. I think a fresh pair of white socks are always super important. Fresh as they can. It's a bit harder now that I do my own washing. They don't really stay as fresh as they should, but.
And I think, yeah. Where do you feel people can go wrong when they pick cycling clothing? What do you think should be a thing they avoid?
I don't know. You know, something that I used to be not critical, but do you know what? For me now, I think if people are riding a bike, I'm not overly concerned. I think I'm just happy. I see, for example, I've seen Kevin Hart, you know, the comedian Kevin Hart, the little movie star. There was a picture of him yesterday in his bike. He's out riding a bike, and you know, all power to him. You know, to have this celebrity, you know, promoting the world of cycling. Okay, he looked bad, right? He did look a little bit bad. He had these sort of knee-high socks. His helmet was a bit crazy, but you know, for me, just go out and ride your bike, man. I think if you've got a pair of bib shorts on or a t-shirt, or you know, yeah, just go and ride the bike. I don't think people can go wrong. You know, okay, I'll tell you what, they can go wrong in one regard. I get upset when I see pockets that are just so full, and then the jersey is not like this anymore, but the jersey is like this. When the pockets are really, really full, you know, and that's when I kind of, yeah, that's when people can go wrong. When the pockets are too full and the jersey starts to fall down, that's when people go wrong.
Or the suspenders over the jersey.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious, right? I would call that out, yeah. Or the chamois inside out. I've also seen this.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You know, but you know what? Then when I see stuff like that, that's an education process, right? Someone has to inform them and educate them and tell them. I wouldn't, you know, it's easy to sit there and laugh at them and stuff, but you know, good on them for getting on a bike and wanting to be healthy and fit and embrace the sport that we love and that we work in, you know. But yeah, definitely it's a wrong thing, but it's wrong because they don't know any different, right? You know, so yeah, it's an education thing. Whoever sold the shorts to this person is in the wrong, because should have told them.
How long does it take to come up from a design to a finished jersey or a finished pair of shorts? How much time does somebody stitching? Because I'm always amazed. I've seen production and I'm just blown away when I see the skillful work of the lady and man who's sitting there on the sewing machine, because I don't even understand where to start. And then something which is so complex like a cycling short or jersey to do this. So how long is the process from the idea, from maybe the sketches they do until we have a jersey in the shop? You're working on 2022, 2023 collection.
No.
How long ahead are you, or how quickly are you reacting on things like this?
Yeah, I mean, we're probably now, I mean, we've got so much coming this year. I think 2021 for us is I say this every year, you know, every time I come to the shop and meet you guys, I always say it, but I think honestly this year for us is probably the biggest year in terms of what we have coming. You know, there's gravel, there's commuter, there's like off the bike. So yeah, 2021 is more or less there in terms of the designs. Now we start to look at the beginning part of 2022. I don't know. I mean, I've got some like for example, the sunglasses. That's almost a year to bring that to the market. You know, that kind of stuff can take a year, and it's not just the there's so many samples of this product that go backwards and forwards between the two different brands. And then you've got small things like packaging and then cloth bags and all the little, the smaller details. With a jersey, so yeah, we design a jersey. So for example, the Dubai Roasters custom jersey,
Yes.
you ask us for a design, we send you the design that we've come up with in-house. And then you say, yep, we'll happy with that. We sign off. Can you bring the jersey to life? Now, I mean, you have to rely on things like, basically you need to get everything to the same factory for them to then sew this garment together. So you've got things like elastic, you've got things like zippers. They all have to be in the same place at the same time. I think I'll look for a jersey where, yeah, this is perfect. So one thing kind of unique about our stuff is for example, the elastic at the bottom of the jerseys is matched to the body of the jersey. And, they need to put that in the lab and test it and how much dye to apply to the elastic to make it exactly the same, exactly. Not a little bit off, not a tiny. So you've got one factory working with elastics, and you've got another factory, working with the main body of the fabric, two different fabrics,
Yes.
One on the sleeve, one on the body. They all need to match exactly.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, as much as it's cool to watch them sew these things together, it's equally as cool to see, imagine like this massive washing machine full of like white cotton fabrics, and they're applying different levels of dye, and then they're testing to see which one matches the exact same color that we've asked for. So, yeah, and then you have to put all these different pieces together. You send it to the factory. They need to then sew it together, which is just mind blowing to watch that stuff happen. As you said, it's yeah. I suppose that the most beautiful part of my job is telling their story, like bringing their job to life, their hard work, their skills. My job's pretty much the easy part. I just tell the story of what the girl in the factory did and how this fabric is sewn to that fabric. But I think it's like almost you need to do their job justice, because it is so beautiful to watch when they're sewing these things together. Like I'm trying to find a jersey where it's easier to see it. Something like this. So sleeve is one fabric. Side body is a different fabric. Front panel is a different fabric. Pockets are a different fabric. Having to work with 5 different materials, a zipper, elastic, and then bring all that together, and then, yeah, and then, people say, oh, why is it so expensive? I said, oh, take my hand and come and show you to the factory. And once you see their work, it's beautiful, so yeah. To answer the question, sorry, about 12 weeks.
Very good.
about 12 weeks, sorry.
Wow.
Now it's a little bit harder in COVID because the factories are just so full, and some places have restrictions on how staff and social distancing and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, to answer your question, about 12 weeks.
You said you have as well a few products which never made it to the market, where you thought it's a good idea and you tested it and you had a prototype, and I saw some gloves before. So can you show us some of the things that never really made it?
So yeah, these sort of neoprene, like wet weather claw gloves that were put over the top of another glove to keep your hands waterproof. Never made it to the market. Luckily, I've got a pair, so when I go out in the rain, I'm happy. But yeah, I think the whole product testing phase is super interesting. We've got. I remember, I think it was last year, or it might have even been the year before. I think it was the year before COVID. We had Luke Plappy in the velodrome testing different skin suits for us, and all these different fabrics and different positions and different cuts and different size, lengths of sleeve. And he was in and out of that velodrome, many times, and he just on the weekend there past became the Australian national time trial champion. Okay, so he beat the likes of Durbridge, and I don't know if Rowan Dennis raced it. I don't think he did, but yeah, I mean, he's 22 years old, I believe, maybe younger, 21, 22. Wow. He's part of the Australian track team. He's going to Tokyo. So yeah, in terms of testing fabrics and fits and cuts, I think for us to see, this kid, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a talented athlete, right? But to see him now wearing MAAP as the Australian time trial champion, knowing that he was in a velodrome, is fun to see. We've also got, our cyclocross team. So the stealth jersey that we have, that's a jersey that's been worn by the Inform team in Australia and then the Trinity cyclocross team. So they've been racing in that jersey for a couple of years, and then it wasn't available for the consumer, and we made it available on our website. Some slight differences, but yeah, that's a jersey that has just won the Giro d'Italia under 23 with Tom Pidcock, and second at the Cyclocross World Championships and stuff. So our testing is done through our sort of main level athletes, and then eventually reaches the customers.
Did you see any changes in demand due to COVID, that people bought other things or just more stuff, or anything was going really well, what you didn't expect it would?
I mean, yeah, people were buying cycling clothing, right? It was crazy for us. We just seen a huge increase. I guess for me, the one thing that's super popular, I see it all the time with cyclists, is the neck warmer.
Okay.
Because I don't know how it is in Dubai, but certainly in Europe, when you go inside to a cafe or these things, or you stop, or you're with a group of people, you need to have the face covered.
Yes.
So as a cyclist, rather than sort of going into your jersey pocket and pulling out a disposable mask that's been in your back pocket for 50, 100K, I see a lot now of cyclists with the neck warmer to cover their face, and to go inside and order a quick coffee and then come back outside. I'm not saying that it's safe, or yet this is going to protect you in the street, because I would say definitely wear a mask. But yeah, I see a lot of these on people in and around when I'm out riding. So yeah, neck warmers for sure. Yeah.
Are there any other exciting collaborations you're planning for 2021?
Yeah. As I touched on, I think this year is going to be the most exciting for us. So I don't know how much I can say.
Nobody's watching. Just say it.
No, because it's then you lose the element of surprise, right? Okay. The sunglasses is something that's going to continue. I don't know, you put me on the spot. We're working on some really cool things. That's all I'm going to say, really. There's some really, some cool brands that you might not expect to work together that are working together now, and then some brands that you really wish would work together, which are now working together. And I think, if you like bike packing or riding on gravel, you'll be happy.
Very good. Timeline for it, end of the year? You think you will release something next year?
Yeah. Before the end of the year, there's at least 3 collabs before the end of this year.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then we can. I don't even know if I could. I don't know. See, this is it's something that even I forget about, and I'm like, wow. I think your guys in the shop are going to be happy. That's all I'm going to say. Good. Your guys in the shop, they like wearing baseball caps, right?
Yes. They're
big baseball cap wearing people, right? So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Baseball caps. They're going to like the baseball caps.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I know you're into racing a lot as well. Obviously, with all the events you're following. UE Tour is just ahead of us. Who's your candidate to win the UE Tour?
I think Yates at Ineos. It's a new team. It's his first race. It's a strong squad that they've put together. I would love to see Pogačar win it for you and for the UAE. Would be super cool. I don't know if he's brought the strongest team with him, and generally after the Tour de France, you tend to have a bit of a party kind of vibe. So I'm not so sure where he's at. I think Yates is always strong at the start of the year. So I would say Yates. I would also be really, really happy to see Froome back at the sort of front of bike racing, with his new team and his new bike.
Yes.
I think it would be really cool to see him at the sort of contesting race victories again. So I don't think Froome will win it, but yeah, I mean, he's such a big character in the sport, right? To win, as many Tour de France's as he did, and I think 5 Tour de France, Vuelta, Giro d'Italia. Cycling kind of needs him to be at the front, right?
Very good. What's your favorite race? What's the most exciting day in cycling for you? Is it rather a long stage race, or is it rather something shorter?
Since I moved here to Italy, I would say Milan-San Remo, just because it's so, it's so beautiful. I love. It's almost like it's like going to the opera. Like you sit there all day and listen to the music, and it's maybe a little bit boring unless you know what's going on, and then suddenly, like, in the last 20 minutes, there's just an explosion of activity, and you're like, wow, what's going on? And there's riders falling and crashing, and Milan-San Remo is beautiful because it's like a musical. It's like an opera. It all finishes in the last 20 minutes, or the complete madness of Paris-Roubaix. Paris-Roubaix is just that's just chaos from start to finish. That's more like an action movie. Like a James Bond film, like Paris-Roubaix, something like this.
Is there a sportif for the Milan-San Remo? Can you do a part of the race before or after?
I believe there is. It's like a Gran Fondo, but it's I think it's like 3 or 4 months after the race. I don't think it's not like Strada Bianchi where it's the day before, or I think it's in the middle of the summer. And I don't know. I don't even know if it's the full length, because to close 300 kilometers of road would be pretty hard, right? Strada Bianchi also, I've been there the last 4 years in a row, 3 years in a row. That's beautiful. That's complete madness, that's such a beautiful race to watch on TV, but to be there live and watch them, like I generally, when I go to watch bike racing, I always stay at the finish line, because I don't see, for me, the enjoyment of just watching them rush past you at 40k an hour and that's it, finished. You go home like, wow, they're like a blur, right? I like to go to the finish line and see them at the end when they are completely, like, they're on their knees, they're crying, they're cramped, they can't feel that. Then you appreciate the sport a lot more, right? Like to see them completely done. I remember Strada Bianchi like 3 years ago in the rain. I think it was 3 years ago in the rain. They arrived, they were caked in mud, they were freezing, the Swan. It was so funny. I think it was it wasn't Stibar, because Stibar's a hard man. It was I think it was Van Avermaet. It was Greg Van Avermaet. He arrived at the end. He was frozen. He was shaking so much, and his Swan came to him with this little towel and said, do you want me to wipe your face? He said, no, give me your jacket. And it was this big, warm puffer jacket, and the Swan said, he said, I want your jacket. And so Greg Van Avermaet gets the jacket, and then suddenly the Swan who's been sitting in the bus all day for 4 or 5 hours, is sitting there like, oh. So for me, Milan-San Remo, Strada Bianchi, Paris-Roubaix, cool.
And how is it for yourself with your riding? Obviously, I called you out on New Year's, around New Year's and Christmas, to get more riding. But out a lot, or you have some time, or how is it?
Yeah. Do you know what was fun at the start of the year was it was snowing. It was super cold, and traditionally, I mean, I was with you in Dubai for a number of years, and normally I would be in Australia at this time of the year, so I would never really experience the winter. So to be out on the bike at sort of -2, -3 degrees was actually pretty good for me, because I finally got to wear the MAAP winter clothing, so now I know what it feels like. But yeah, I mean, I'm blessed. I live in such a beautiful area, and I'm so close to the hills, and got so many pro riders around, Battistella, Battaglia, Matteo Trentin's not far from here. Okay, he lives in Monaco, but Brambilla, Pippo Pozzato, all these guys. So you go out and you'll see them riding, and yeah, you can maybe hold on with them for a couple of kilometers. But yeah, it's such a beautiful area to riding. Honestly, I don't ride enough. I should probably ride a lot more. But that's just the nature of the business. As we've got bigger and bigger, work obviously gets bigger and bigger. But yeah, hope to rectify that in the coming weeks with some more staff here in Europe, and then I can spend more time on the bike, really.
Anything with COVID you have learned and you're going to continue doing, because you feel like there's something we have all learned and we should do this and continue doing these things?
For me personally, yeah, yes. I think so. I think in Italy it was one of the harshest lockdowns in Europe. So I think when you speak about a lockdown or COVID for other countries, they maybe don't appreciate just how severe it was here. We weren't really allowed to leave the house without an official government document, and if you didn't have that, and this lasted for ages, I guess for me, I mean, I'm quite an outgoing person. I don't cook. I eat in restaurants almost every night, so it was a really big, I learned to cook is one thing because I had to, the biggest thing I found was just having a routine. And if that routine no longer works for you, then you need to freshen it up and change it. Just because you say, I'm going to wake up at 6 and I'm going to exercise for 2 hours and then I'm going to have breakfast and then blah, blah, blah. If suddenly you stop waking up at 6 and you started waking up at 7 and you get then change the routine. So for me, I think since lockdown last year, I changed my routine maybe 4 or 5 times, just to keep it fresh and, move my office space around, change the desk. So I was looking at a different wall. I started running, which was crazy. I, would never imagine I would buy a pair of running shoes. Started hiking, again, we've got beautiful countryside here. So yeah, for me, I think, just keep your routine fresh. If your routine's not working for you, then just change it up and just keep your mind fresh, otherwise you're going to go crazy. It's not easy for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm. So you can make a Monty aperitivo and you can make a cooking with Monty show.
We can do all of this. We can do the aperitivo at night. We can wake up and do the running, and then we can do cooking in the afternoon. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'm the new face of running. Marcus Smith's no longer required. I'm yeah.
I have a few quick sentences which I would like you to finish.
Wow,
I love cycling. I love cycling because of
my bike can take me wherever I want.
A perfect day is
waking up.
Very good. Yeah, that's a good start, isn't it? Yeah.
Perfect day is waking up, man. Yeah.
I can ride my bike faster than
you.
Oof, okay, we're going to take this to the test. I wish I had
more hair.
Okay, but hairstyle, you went through quite a few hairstyles, isn't it? I had the man bun. We had different things now, and I'm quite surprised to see you with short hair like that.
Yeah, actually. We had lots. I wish I don't really wish I had anything really. I'm happy. I'm super grateful for what I have. I don't think there's anything that. I wish. I don't know. Yeah, is it hair? less grays. I wish I had less gray. There we go.
My idol or hero is?
Growing up was Seve Ballesteros, was a golfer, or Sean Connery, James Bond. They were growing up. They were like my heroes. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Now I don't really have a hero. Yeah.
Greatest athlete or cyclist of all time? Could be a cyclist or not.
Greatest cyclist of all time. I don't know. There's so many cyclists that I admire for many different reasons. You know, I love. I couldn't even begin to answer it. Athletes, again, to mention him, not because he's watching, and I don't really mind him. He's watching. I think to run 30 marathons in 30 days, that was something like I remember watching that from Marcus. That for me was incredible. You know, to see something like that. And then he's also led me on to seeing other athletes who do other crazy things, you know, like running ultra marathons or riding your bike from the north of Scotland to the south of England. Like this stuff, for me, these are all heroes, right? You know, riding your bike the length of America, that stuff is mental, you know, good on them. So yeah, there's many heroes in the world. They don't need to be celebrated. They don't need to be famous people with big Instagram accounts. There's many heroes in the world. You one of my heroes also in terms of work ethic and, you know, education. And, you know, I'm super proud of what you've done in that shop. And I would say also you're one of my heroes, you know.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it, Monty. Thank you. Fashion question, obviously socks, long or short?
Long, right? 100%. I've got long legs, so long.
How long? Middle of the calf?
This long.
Okay.
This long. I think we only really do one length with our socks. This is an old pair. These are for Gabby because I know she likes crazy socks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, middle of the calf. Not crazy long, you know. But yeah, definitely not short.
Do you have a tattoo on your body? Any?
Yeah, I think I've got 11 tattoos.
Okay.
Yeah. The most crazy one actually is so when I arrived here in Italy, it was hard because I was riding with a big group of cyclists, and
yes.
Like it's not like in Dubai where you have a route, you know, you know exactly where you're going. It's the bottom of the stake, you're going to the mosque. You turn up and they don't tell you where you're riding. You don't know if you're riding 50K, 100, if you're going up a hill, it's crazy, right? And and they were all speaking in Italian, and I was riding at the back of the group because I didn't know what they were saying. And when you enter the roundabouts, you don't know if you're going to go left or right or straight on or what have you, you know? So they would shout sinistra and destra, which is left and right. But for me to translate that in my head takes maybe a second or a second and a half. But that's enough time for me to think we're going right and the whole group to go left. So I got it tattooed on my hand. So when I'm riding on,
that's cool.
Right, wow. Right. So when it's on the handlebar now, right? So when I look down, I just see S and D, and I know which way to go in the roundabouts, right? So yeah.
That's very cool. I like that. That's a cool story. If your life would be a music album, what would be the music album?
Greatest hits.
Greatest hits of Monty.
Yeah. Greatest hits, or maybe from the Beatles. I don't know, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club. I'd say, yeah, something like that. A little bit more from the heart, a little bit more soppy.
And if you go to a karaoke bar and you have to pick a song to sing, what's your song?
Yeah, Wonderwall, right? Wonderwall by Oasis.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. Just because it's one of those songs where you start and then you put the microphone to the crowd and everyone just joins in. So,
very good. And one piece of wisdom you have learned over the years and you would like to pass on to people and said, this is something which really keeps you going, a nice quote or anything like this?
This is funny actually, because I've spent a bit of time recently with someone that I met recently, and they've really been, I don't want to say like a prophet, you know, like they've been like really spiritual in the way that they've helped me and they've spoken to me. But I guess what I have on my telephone as my screensaver was a message that a friend of mine, Martina Tozin, she sent me. And I remember we were in the Dolomites actually sitting down having a drink, and she said to me, I'm thinking about doing this and I'm thinking about doing that. And I said, don't think. I said, just do it. Don't think, just go and do it, you know? And I think a week later, she called me and said, I'm moving to Australia. And I said, oh, don't listen to me. Like, don't listen to what I'm saying. You know, what are you doing? I don't want to be responsible for this. And she's still in Australia. I speak to her all the time. She's super happy with her life. And she messaged me and she said, what is it? It's on my phone. To Monty, who daily teaches me what is important in life. And yeah, obviously I'm Monty, so I need to obviously daily teach myself what is important in life. So I now have this on my phone, and it's a quote that that I live by almost every day. Yeah, to Monty, who daily teaches me what is important in life.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Like that. Is there any person, dead or alive, you would like to spend a day to hear the story, get inspired? Anyone?
I think a day with Brian Holm is full of stories, right? I mean, that he's a good friend of mine. I've heard him tell some crazy stories. I was lucky enough to have him on the Quarantine Aperitivo. I think we could have spoke for 5 or 6 hours. Some of his stories are absolutely genius. Like, you know, there's one story of Adam Hansen at HTC where he breaks his collarbone and they get him back up, and he gets on the bike and he's at the front of the peloton. He's pulling hard. He's pulling. He's on the radio going, Brian, my collarbone's broken. I'm broken. And he said, Brian Holmes in the car saying, the quickest way to the hospital is to the finish line. So, you know, so Adam Hansen's like, you know, swearing at him on the radio when, I can't believe you're making me pull at the front of the peloton. You know, they're all pulling for Cav, you know, and they get to the finish line. I think Cav won the stage. Brian Holm didn't know that Adam Hansen's mum was actually at the finish line waiting for him, right? So Adam finishes, collapses to the floor, his collarbone's broken, his arm's falling off. And I still don't think Adam Hansen's spoken to Brian Holm since. So, and this is just one story of about 1,000. So I would say if it was for cycling, Brian Holm, hands down. The guy has got stories for days. So
okay. Good.
Yeah.
Monty, I want to be conscious of the time, and I want to really thank you for this.
For sure.
We've almost spent an hour. I want to thank you as well and acknowledge you for obviously bringing cycling fashion, cycling culture to Dubai, and I think you really did a good job, and we're really happy to have you with MAAP, and I think you make so many cyclists look good, and it's always good to have you around in Dubai. So we're looking forward to see, and we're looking forward to all the interesting collaborations you're gonna have. And again, thanks for your time and thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, as you know, thank you for allowing me to come to Dubai and do what I did. You know, it was, when I think back to people like Natasha or Amy Davidson or, you know, Salma and that group of girls that used to ride in full MAAP, or Ibrahim, and yeah, it was a glorious time. And thank you very much, and thank you for letting me talk. It was a pleasure, and yeah, hopefully see you soon. I was actually supposed to come for the UAE tour next week, but with the whole COVID situation, it's very difficult to travel. But I hope I can come as soon as possible to come and say hi to the guys and give a big hug to Gabby and to little Nikon. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Monty. And one of our next guests, you mentioned it, is Ron Dennis. We're going to have Ron on the show, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to have the inventor of Infinity Saddle, Dr. Vincent, who's a super smart guy. So we're going to continue the show, and obviously we're going to continue with Aperitivo now, or something special. I think
it's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back.
Show we need to do back.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Wolfi. Thank you very much for having me, and take care. Okay, I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you everyone for watching. Have a good evening. Bye bye.